Welcome back to SAOC Live. Myself and Danny are back pitch side. Some of the unused subs and some of the used subs are just doing some last minute cool downs behind us. So you might see that behind us. And what we saw this afternoon behind us was a good game from Sunderland. Really good in possession, really good out of possession as well. And in the end, come out with a 3-1 win despite being 1-0 down at half time, Danny.
Yeah, I think the key was end product in the second half, wasn't it? And starting the second half really well after going behind in that first half where, as you say, I think we had good control at times, worked the ball well around the pitch, but didn't really create enough in the final third. And that obviously changed in that second half, and it needed to obviously get back into the game and to take the 3 points. So I think overall, Michael Beale will be delighted. And overall with the actual performance itself, really. And you asked what's been the real difference. I think just good energy. We turned up today and we've seen that performance obviously under Tony Mowbray previously, and obviously seen it again now under Michael Beale.
Yeah, excellent. Let's have a look through the action then and see where Sunderland went right this afternoon. But before it went right, it went a little bit wrong in the first half. We found ourselves a goal behind, and it was against the run of play, and it was an opportunist kind of goal, wasn't it? The way that Hardy was risking his positioning on the halfway line, but it paid off for them in the end. But nevertheless, Sunderland had good opportunities in the first half.
They did, yeah, and it was quite open in that first half, and credit to Plymouth as well. You know, we mentioned before they had a difficult one in the week against Leeds going into extra time. Yeah, they made a few changes, but they had a good go at us, I thought, in that first half, and Hardy especially, you know, playing on the shoulder. You see here now he's getting in behind. Good save from Anthony Patterson. The angle's against him, but he puts his foot through it and forces the save, doesn't he? So they did have moments in that first half as well. We've seen the cross as well in that first minute to the back post for Barley Mumba. So there were one or two warning signs there, if you like, really, of what they're about on the counter attack as well, Plymouth. And they've scored some goals at home this season. I think they're 5th, 6th top scorers in the league as well. But yeah, so they did have moments, but at the same time we felt like we had good control in the game, didn't it? We moved the ball well across the pitch. We managed to pop it through him at times as well, but just when we're getting in and around that 18-yard box where we struggled really, and that was the only real effort on target in that first half, wasn't it, from Jack? Just pops up in front of the goalkeeper. Hazard, I think, comes off his shoulder. But other than that, really, he wasn't forced into a save in the first half, so that would have been the disappointment. But you can see we're committing body forward. Link-up play was quite good. Roosing, I thought his general game was good this afternoon. Just didn't get that real good opportunity, did he? He had one or two half chances in the first half. There was a block from Phillips, I think, which we'll see in a moment. But yeah, he worked really well. And we just come off comms there, and we said, didn't we, if you go across the whole starting 11 and obviously the lads coming off the bench as well, everybody has contributed this afternoon.
Yeah, absolutely. Jack Clark there was frustrated in the first half. It's good to see minutes for Patrick Roberts as well this afternoon.
Yeah, 70-odd minutes for Patrick. Busy and bright at times in the first half, when he maybe a little bit reluctant, I think, one in the second half to pull the trigger when he played a little give and go. But yeah, getting minutes under his belt.
This is a controversial first goal.
Listen, straight away when you see that back, you think, oh, he's offside, why isn't the flag gone up? So you can see, especially around us, all the fans who were up their seats, shouting it down at the linesmen, waving their arms about. But look at it back from this one, I'm not sure if we can pause it as the ball's played.
There. Well, he's in his half. If we stop it there, he's still in his half.
Yeah, we'll catch it now as it's played, and obviously the viewers that were watching the game at home will have seen that, and you can see that he's in his own half. So credit the linesman. You know, it's all right to give him a stick when they get things wrong, but fair play to him there. 40-odd thousand Sunderland fans in the stadium having a pop at him, but he's got it right, so give him credit.
And Ryan Hardy still had a lot to do. I thought the opportunity went away.
No, exactly that. You see there, once he's not pulled the trigger, he could have gone early. Anthony Patterson's almost in no man's land there, doesn't pull the trigger, and then here now you think, oh, he's got a bit of work to do now, and then Trey sort of gambles a little bit that he's going to pull the trigger, and then I think Anthony Patterson thinks he's just going to try and whip that in that near post area, but he doesn't. Shows good composure.
Yeah, what about that one for an audacious effort?
And this one a few minutes after, if that one goes in, you're thinking, another one of those days, isn't it? But yeah, he's unlucky in a way, really, isn't it? Just drops to the left-hand side of the post. But yeah, we managed to get in then, don't we? A goal down and come out second half and have a right good go at it. And just seeing this one now, Barley Mumba gets booked for this one, doesn't he? I think it's not for the foul, the booking, it's for having a few words with the referee. But he could have given the free kick a little bit earlier on, corner of the box, allowed play to try and go on to see if Jack could get himself a yard. And he never gives the free kick, and as I say, resulting from the free kick, little nick off the top of the wall. But set plays, if we're looking at set plays, really weren't quite at it, were we, today?
Corners
really?
Weren't really.
Although Pierre scores from one, they're in a bit of a mess. We'll see that in a moment. But their wall obviously breaks up, and they try and put pressure on the on the free kick once it's been taken short. I think it comes from this one now, doesn't it? We see it back. The free kick's given out edge of the box, isn't it? On Patrick, just nicks it over the top of his man there and gets clipped. So I think overall, we're quick enough to have a pop at the officials, aren't we? But I think they have got a lot of stuff right, you see today. And there we go. Now we've talked about the old draft excluder in there, Whittaker. He's lying there facing the other way, so he's not sure what's actually going on. But it's the fact that we've taken it short. I think if it's a direct one, we take it without shifting the ball. The wall stays as it is, but because they've shifted it.
Well, it's actually Gibson who comes out and moves just to the right, and he was solid all afternoon pretty much, and then it looks like it's gone past him. Yeah,
he did, there was 2 or 3, and then Pierre just passes it. Keeper's obviously looking after the other side, isn't he? And you can see after it's gone in, they're all having a bit of a dig at each other. The keeper's waving his arms around saying, what's happened to me wall? And we're back in it there, aren't we? Back on level terms, and then this is their only real effort really in the second half. It just goes a little bit early, you see now as it comes to foreshore, and just keep your eye on Whittaker.
You see behind Hjelder, isn't he?
Yeah, it's a good line. Luke steps up just enough. Hjelder's got his arm up early on, and the flag goes up.
And he's
the second goal one now, And it was
at this point, Jack's got so much work to do.
Well, he has. It was a good battle between himself and Mumba all afternoon, really, and he does well initially. Mumba loses his footing, and then I tell you, he does well here for the goal. Dan Neal, just keep your eye on Dan, and he tracks Mumba.
Out,
they're a little bit sluggish then after that Plymouth to get out to Jack. You just see it back here now. There, can they go and get a little bit of pressure on him a bit quicker? Possibly, but credit to Jack, just whips it, doesn't he, far corner. We've seen it time and time again. Jack's going to have a reel at the end of his career with about 30 of these type of goals, isn't he, where he just comes in off that left-hand side and whips it into that far corner. And you get a lot of people saying, oh, why do we play with the wingers on their opposite side? Well, there's your prime example, because that's what he wants to do. It opens up the pitch for him. He can go either side and just feeds it, and then a few minutes later, Job off the bench, little step over, and then off the same post, keeper no chance again. And people say about Job in recent weeks, does he look like he needs a break? Possibly. Well, he got one this afternoon, as I say, for 70 odd minutes, and he looked fresh coming off the bench, to be fair to him, didn't he? And just waltzes his way in there, squares Phillips up, little step over.
Sums his body up, doesn't he?
The staff there getting themselves a little pat on the back. We've just made the change, because they do. They come under fire sometimes if the coaches and staff, when they don't make the changes early enough, or fans feel that they haven't made the right change. Well, look at that today. There, they've made those changes, and within a couple of minutes. And Chris Rigg as well, as you say, come on, give us a bit of energy, got on the ball a little bit, and they ticked us over in there. The 2 experienced substitutions of 17 and 18-year-old.
As we're watching the final few chances, man of the match for you this afternoon, Dan Neal?
We could stand here and reel them all off, couldn't we? But I think I'm going to go Dan Neal. You can look at the goal scorers, but just look at Dan throughout the 90 minutes. I love the control he had on the game in there. It's just silky on the ball. That's the first word that comes to mind for me with Dan, is just the way he plays the game. Still a young lad, really, isn't he? But he's almost the experienced one in the middle of the park there for us. And just the way he takes the ball, doesn't panic at times, he rolls players, ticks us over, and no, he's a joy to watch.
Okay then, what should we do now? Let's have a look at the scores from around the grounds this afternoon. Here's the latest scores, final scores now, aren't they? Ipswich Town 2, West Bromwich Albion 2. That was the early kick-off. Blackburn Rovers 3, Stoke City 1, Cardiff City 0, Preston North End 2, Hull City 0, Swansea City 1, Leeds United 3, Rotherham 0, Middlesbrough 1, Bristol City 2, Queen's Park Rangers 2, Norwich City 2, Southampton, who were, I think, 3-0 down at half-time. Was it 2-0 or 3-0?
2-0 it was at half-time.
They've ended up winning 5-3 at Huddersfield, and that's where Sunderland go on Wednesday night. In the final one, Watford 1, Leicester City 2. What does that do to the league table? Let's have a look. Sunderland fans will be happy. They're back in the playoff positions, Danny.
They are indeed, and I think it's Coventry that play tomorrow. But listen, it's tight, isn't it, in there? Obviously, West Brom are 2-1 up against Ipswich, so that one's helped us out a little bit, as you say there. It's that 11-point gap, isn't there, from 5th to 6th. So I think there's a cluster of sort of 8 teams really, even below Coventry. I know we haven't got the second half of the table on the screen there, but there's a good cluster of sides there. I'll be thinking if we get on a run, we've got a chance of getting into, 5th or 6th place are up for grabs really. But we've done our job today. Say Hull at home, I'd have fancied them against Swansea, been beaten, and that's what happens in football. Norwich as well, you've just got to take care of your own results. And we've done that this afternoon, and we get ready to go again on Wednesday night.
Okay, let's see what you've been seeing around the world. Take some of your thoughts and comments about today's game if we can. Joy is being in touch. Do you think Hjelde is making a good impression?
Well, he's settling in, isn't he? I think he said 90 minutes against Middlesbrough last Sunday and then another 90 today. I think setting off, it was comfortable for him. It didn't have a lot of defending to do. We mentioned it there on commentary where he could step in, go and link up with Jack and get forward. And yeah, he'll be enjoying his football now. He's been sat on the bench for a lot of the season. I think he played the first game of the season for Leeds, didn't he? Come off at half-time and hasn't played any football since then. So he's finding his feet. What you want to do as a new player going into a club, you want to get into it as early as you can and get a shirt, and he's had the opportunity to do that with us obviously having the left-backs out injured. But he's got to try and stay in there now. He's got, there's a run there for him if he keeps on playing, doing things right and being part of a back four unit who are doing well. Then he's going to stay in the side. I think naturally he probably is a centre back. He walked past us before. I'm 6'2", 6'3", and he was a bit bigger than me, so he's a big size. But I enjoy being out there, and you learn as well, because obviously I played at left centre half and left back. It's a completely different role, but it'll bring his game on as well, because he'll step in a lot more with the ball for the amount of possession we have.
He's still young as well,
and
isn't
bring his game on massively. Yeah, so no credit to him. He'll have enjoyed that again this afternoon, and I'm sure we'll see him on Wednesday night against Huddersfield. Let's
have a look at another one of your comments here on #AskDanny. Look at that! Watching the lads in Krakow today. How are the lads? Look at that. Well done, Ben.
Yeah.
Guys.
Enjoy your evening, lads.
The Bald Brummie's been in touch, Danny. He says, I feel like the feel-good factor is coming back. What do you think? I certainly felt that way today inside the stadium. Bit of a shift in atmosphere.
Yeah, no, I think it's been coming back for a while, hasn't it? Obviously, since we got promoted. You look at last season as well. Obviously, we came up short, but at the start of last season, not too many would have perhaps said we've been in the playoffs. So that was a massive positive last year. And we've continued it again, really. Obviously, we've had a bit of a negative last month or so around the club, and obviously results in changing manager and everything going on. But looks like we're back on it. With 3 unbeaten, as you say there. Good win against Stoke a couple of weeks ago. Good points in the end down at Middlesbrough, and then we're back on it again this afternoon with another 3 at home in front of 40,000 plus.
Yeah.
Still a long way to go, and the expectation from the fans will be for us to get into the playoffs. At Sunderland at this level, we've said it before, the start of the season, and the fans come here in their numbers week in, week out, and they expect to see Sunderland when they're in the Championship pushing at the top end of the table. That's what we're doing. Yes, we've got a young squad, new additions coming in the last week or so. We've seen Romain as well. We haven't spoken about him there, getting 20 minutes or so as well. But yeah, they'll be confident, the boys in there. We're a young squad, youngest in the league. We've said it before. The lads we brought in are young lads as well. Yeah. But they look like they enjoy the football when they're out there. The way we dominate possession, we get about teams, and when we turn up like we have done today, and I've said there we had a lot of 8 and 9 out of 10 performances. We're more than a match for anyone at this level.
Another one then, if we can, before we end the programme. We've still got a couple more. Watching from the IZ Baghdad. Well done, lads. Well, thanks, Bob. This one says, how much more complete can Dan Neil be? From Graham in India.
Yeah, good question. Obviously, we've just mentioned Dan there, probably giving man of the match today. Where can he get to, Dan? Well, I'd say the world's your oyster, isn't it? I think he's got all the tools in there. I think if you ask Dan what would be his preferred position, probably playing as an 8, maybe more, but he's comfortable in both for me. He can play a little bit deeper, as we see what he's doing today. Takes it off the lads at the back. He's got good vision of what's going on around him. He can switch it left and right. Drives with the ball. It's a strange one, Dan, because he's not quick, is he? But he just glides past people. He's got long ranging legs, and he just moves really well with the ball. You've seen the one at the end where he got fouled. Sorinola brought him down for the yellow card, and he was still fresh there, getting towards the end of the game there, and he's still got yards in the legs. He's got goals in him. I think if he is asked to play higher up the pitch, I think he's got goals in him. We've seen it this season. I think Blackburn obviously got one. He's a top player, and I think if you ask Danny, he'll want to move forward with the club. But if he keeps putting performances in like he has today and throughout the season, then there's obviously going to be a lot of interest for him moving forward.
Let's have a look at the final couple, if we can. Andy's been in church. True or false? We're by far the greatest team the world has ever seen. That's true. Next one. You can take the last one. Adrian's been in touch. Hi, Danny and Frankie. Watching the lads from Brazil. Danny, your home nation. No, that was Wales. Was the team selection more attacking and courageous this week. We went with Rusyn up top, following on from his goal at Middlesbrough. Although Rusyn didn't get on the score sheet, he still offers quite a lot, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. Yeah, we've mentioned it there. His work rate alone, putting pressure on centre backs, and whoever he comes up against, coming up against lads who are a lot bigger. He's not the biggest in terms of physique, but he puts himself about. Looks like he can shift as well. A couple of times there, he's confident when he's picking up the ball and getting down the channels. The only thing from his point of view, which he'll want a little bit more of, is obviously a little bit more ball in the box. It's all well and good in working hard for the team, running the channels and coming deeper at times, but he wants those balls in behind perhaps a little bit more if we're being a little bit picky. We could see it from up there, couldn't we, where he is playing on the shoulder and running in behind, and then getting on the end of things. We've seen his goal against Preston, and that's what you want your out and out strikers to be doing and getting on the end of, isn't it? Those little balls coming in, little bit of movement, getting across the centre halves and getting on the end of things. No, but fantastic. Was it more of an attacking side? I wouldn't say so. Obviously you brought Patrick in as well, and you've moved Abdullah Bar inside to the 10 role really, but not really. I think if you look at that, Job obviously came out of the team. If you compare him to where Job was to last week to where Abdullah Bar played, but Job's come off the bench and smashed one in the far corner as well. So I don't think it was in terms of that. I think he's just weighed things up during the week and thinks who maybe could do with the rest. Rusyn obviously had an impact coming off the bench last week, so he feels, has he earned the start? Well, he brought him in, and things have worked for us today. But they'll weigh it up again because it's a 3-game week, isn't it? Well, obviously we go to Huddersfield midweek as well. You'll assess things, 1 or 2, getting bumps towards the end of the game. Luke went down as well. Hopefully he's okay. I think he will be. But they'll assess it during training during the next couple of days, and go again on Wednesday night and try and get back-to-back 3 points.
Exactly, and that's when you can see us next on Wednesday evening. Sunderland are down the John Smith Stadium for a game against Huddersfield Town. It's a 7:45 kickoff, means we'll be on air from 7 p.m, and you get your matchday streaming passes right now at safc.com. You can also access the game via the SAFC app. Sunderland are 3 games unbeaten. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.